Visit Target Sports USA for all your ammo needs. As always, free shipping on bulk ammunition purchases. Hard to find ammo and big savings on all ammo at Target Sports USA. Save big on 9mm Luger, 45 ACP, 380 ACP, 38 special bulk ammo, 5.56mm, 308 Winchester, 223 Remington, 7.62 x 39mm bulk. Free shipping included. Click link below and visit Target Sports USA right now. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. So logical outcome here on October 17, 2013, which will be the day that the United States federal government, for the first time in American history, in the short 230-plus year experiment that has already corrupted itself and has basically rotted out to the grave our freedom and liberty, literally on every level, may or may not officially default on its massive debt obligations, totaling $16.8 trillion and growing. The president is going to more than likely come to the rescue, wear a Superman cape, and explain to the American people that raising the debt ceiling is a good thing and that he should be patted on the back for taking us from almost 17 trillion to 20, or whatever figure he throws out. Many of you are aware that the president has added more to the debt than any other president in American history combined. That's how bad and grotesque it's been with Obamacare and the trillions of dollars of bailouts that have only fed the greedy pockets of people like Warren Buffett with their bailouts of Goldman Sachs and Jamie Dimon and his bailout of his large corporation, JP Morgan Chase, and all the other cronies and criminals that have sailed off into the sunset. A lot of them just getting out of the United States altogether now that they've ripped it off, now that they've raped and pillaged it. But where does this lead us? Because although they're politicking in Washington, although Democrats are going to, come to the rescue and the Republicans are going to say, hey, that's not what we wanted, but we had to compromise in the best interest of the American people, where does this leave us? Because even with the short-term solution this Thursday, if it even happens, is only going to put us in the position in another 3 or 6 months or 12 months, they're going to be having the same argument again. They're going to have to raise it from 20 trillion to 25 trillion, from 25 trillion to 50 trillion, to 100 trillion, to 300 trillion. Because the problem is, we've spent way too much money and we have an infrastructure, an upside-down pyramid scheme that can no longer be sustained. Washington and Washingtonians and these corrupt politicians themselves have literally funneled all the money into their pockets, drained the American people, and by imperializing the rest of the world through wars, we've seen this in history with the fall of Rome, have literally bankrupted itself internally. You see, you can't sustain growth at these high levels into infinity forever. There has to be a trough at some point. You can't just move a straight line forever. It's an impossibility. But you see, that's how the American economy has been built. That's how Washington has been built. It only works with continued growth moving in a straight line. Anytime there's a little speed bump, not only is there a speed bump, everything collapses. Major financial institutions like Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns and Merrill Lynch go down. They cease to exist. They need bailouts because they can't operate. They can't operate their business model internally without constant growth. Because they're super leveraged, the American consumer is super leveraged, right back to where they were in 2007, have learned nothing from the 2008 financial crash or crisis, and the federal government is even more super leveraged than it was before. And it's only going to get worse. It's only a matter of time of whether or not the United States decides officially to stop paying its debt or the rest of the world de-Americanizes, as China spoke to and has been speaking to over the weekend in the past few days, and push comes to shove and the United States is no longer a player among the international business community, which I think is much of the case today. I mean, you see people getting out. There was an article yesterday, Sir Richard Branson leaving the United Kingdom to live on his personal island. He said he wasn't trying to escape or isn't trying to escape excessive taxation from the UK. that it was a personal lifestyle decision, which it may or may not be. But you see, people are fleeing the nest. They're getting out. They're leaving America. They're moving their businesses out of America. They're going to get their health care other places. They're going to get the assistance they need, the freedom they need elsewhere. We have a few states left in the United States, places like Texas, places like Arizona, and a few others that still have a liberty mindset, that still aren't afraid to tell government officials to go screw themselves when they start taking our liberty or ask for our guns. There's a few states left. And these states, these independent states like Texas, very likely, in my opinion, are in the process already of seceding from the Union, of just giving the middle finger back to Washington that, look, we don't need you. And that's why states were created that way in the first place. They have every right, every intention, every historical precedent to leave the Union when a centralized government takes over and ruins the entire program for everybody else. These people clearly do not have the interests of America, the Constitution, our republic, or the people at heart. They have themselves at heart. And what we need to learn from this, and what we need to understand, that even with raising the debt ceiling this Thursday, if that happens, if they don't decide to manufacture terrorism, and maybe the intent is to stop paying, maybe the intent is to let it go by the wayside, to encourage the outbreak of the next great war, to create an environment where the masses are so fearful again that not only will they submit to the war and fight in it to protect, I guess, I don't know, these elitist freedom. I don't even know what we're fighting for anymore. I mean, that's what's crazy about it. No one even knows what they're fighting to preserve, because the only wars we're fighting are fighting to preserve big business and corporations that are hurting other people and hurting other countries. This imperialization of the rest of the world is only destroying Rome. It's burning us to the ground. And the problem, the root evil, the structural insolvency of the United States isn't being addressed. The can is simply being kicked down the road for another generation to worry about, or another people, or another year for that shock, that systemic black swan event to hit once again. And we're seeing it in our state right now, I see, and I'd be curious what you're seeing in your home state. I'm seeing the real estate signs pop up again. I mean, it's been only 5 years since the greatest financial crash since the Great Depression, since the systemic event that was 1929, and still, we've learned nothing. We are all super leveraged once again, the federal government more super leveraged than it's ever been, the consumer back to pre-crisis levels of 2007. All with our digital iPads and iPods and our technological savviness, thinking that we're still somehow the greatest country in the world, when in reality, we're probably one of the worst. I'm Christopher Green. You've been tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television, hard-hitting and in your face. Get this video out everywhere. Click that link below, support our sponsor, make it viral.